join the oral team and have your say. And encourage you to join us this evening at 19 hours 20 for the Friday edition of the Glenn Lal Show.
Oh, I know you have quite some exciting things to discuss this evening. So
yes.
I want to...
You want me to begin?
Yes.
Let me clear my throat a little.
Mr. Lal?
I want
know
to
you
share...
have quite some exciting things to discuss this evening. So
yes.
I want to...
You want me to begin?
Yes.
Let me clear my throat a little. I want to share a funny joke with you guys. I had a mamu who lived directly opposite us in Wakenham. When he drink rum, he liked to pick fight with the neighbor. That's a particular neighbor. One day the neighbor called the police. And when the police show up at his gate, he tell his son, Karim, to go tell the police he not at home. Karim went out to the police and told them, my daddy said to tell you he not at home. They promptly went in the house and arrested him for his liardness. I wish, Davina, we could arrest some people in this country for not only their liardness, but for the danger they're putting this country and all of us in.
I agree.
Me, Mamu, dead and gone. Karim has done well for himself and his family. He lives in Bartica. God always have a way in showing you progress when you're honest, decent, and trustworthy. That incident tells a story with both parents and child. Cherry Jagan was an honest and decent fella. A matter of fact, he is considered the father of this nation. He placed his trust in so many of them in his party that I believe if he was alive today, Divina, I don't know. I don't know what he would have done with some of these unfaithful bastards, these crooks, these dishonest, lying parasites parading themselves as leaders today and say they are following the footsteps of this great man, fulfilling his dreams. Hear that? This is what they say all the time, fulfilling this great man's dream.
Right.
Wow. Wow. Sunday, the PPP party celebrated the death anniversary of Chedi Jagan at Babojan in Port Morant. And when I listened to what some of them had to say, I could only shake my head and say, I wish this man was alive to see what these parasites doing in his name to this nation. Uncle and Auntie, I didn't say namaste. Now I will say namaste to all of you. I want you guys to listen to a short piece of what our Vice President Jagdeo said during his presentation at Babojan on Sunday. Is Joshua wrong?
Let me see if I can reach him.
Joshua, leave us. I want you guys to listen to this tape carefully, Uncle and Auntie. What Bara Jagdeo had to say. Joshua has left us, so
He's back.
It doesn't
Don't
seem that we
worry.
could play it. Joshua,
Yes.
you left us. Could you play that little tape for them to hear, please? Thank you.
2.5 short years, we have put in place one and are putting in place one of the most modern frameworks to manage the industry anywhere in the world. They talk about corruption in oil and gas. In opposition, we said we wanted every Guyanese to know how much money we collect from the oil and gas companies every year. And the reason we did this is because you remember Winston Jordan and the cabinet in the past hid 18 million US dollars signing bonus. They didn't tell this country a year and a half after receiving the money, they didn't say a word. They didn't place it into the consolidated fund, nor did they put it in the central bank balance sheet. So for all purposes, it was outside of the audit purview of the Auditor General. We criticized it, we exposed it. When we pressured Jordan, he said, oh, he thought it was a gift. You remember that? He said that he thought it was a gift. The 18 million signing bonus was a gift to the PNC. It was supposed to be paid into the consolidated fund. And we made it clear that no Minister of Finance will have those powers under the PPP. The first thing we did is that we amended the law to ensure that every receipt, big or small, from the oil and gas sector will be published in the official gazette, and Parliament will be notified within 3 months. And if the Minister of Finance fails to do that, there is a 10 years jail penalty attached to it. Not that Ashney will have that, because I know Ashney is publishing as soon as they get a receipt, he publishes it. So that every citizen of this country will now know how much money we've collected. All they have to do, they have to buy the official gazette and add down every year, and they will see that. No country in the world has that law, a law as strong as that to ensure transparency.
Uncle, when I listen to Barajak Deo and the spin he puts on issues, how he articulates himself, you gotta give him credit or a round of applause when this man finished talking. This is not a con man. This is a con artist. He knows how to spin words to make you believe that the sun is green or that Cherry Jagan's still alive. That's how good this man is when you listen to him. Uncle, he said the 18 million signing bonus was not a gift to the PNC. It was supposed to be in the treasury. Oh, he is so correct on that one. He's perfectly in order with that one. Then he went on to say how he changed the law to have Ashney Singh report every cent of the oil money, big or small, to the public via the official gazette. You hear that, Joshua? Yep. Via the official gazette. You just have to buy a copy and add up the figures. Then you're going to know how much we collect. You heard him there, man. That's what he said. Yep. If Ashney Singh fails to do so, he has to face 10 years jail. Oh boy. Fails to do so, he faces 10 years jail. Jagdev said no country in the world got a law as strong as ours to ensure transparency. I don't know. I really don't know, really. I can't laugh, I can't grin, I can't cry, I can't smile when you hear these things. Guys, the oil law the PNC had in place was much better than this one the PPP rushed through Parliament in the wee hours of the morning, right in the middle of the Christmas holidays, when all are really drunk in 2021 December. Oh boy. Hear this, uncle. Every country's oil law, listen to me carefully, Divina. Every country's oil law have a special clause inside to jail the minister if he thief, if he misuse or misspend the people's oil money. But the PPP one doesn't have that special clause in what Jack Dale said is the strongest oil law on earth. We law, what I rush through, only jailing Ashley Singh for not telling us how much he collect, but not how it is spent or what it is being spent on. No, that is not inside. Them can buy mansions in the US or England for their family with our oil money and no jail for that. That is the strongest oil law that Jack Dale tell the Bobishans at Babujan. He put in there and everybody was clapping. Yes. Wow. I remember when my reporter pointed out that every country's oil law has that specific clause for thieving and misspending the people's oil money. Ashley Singh said, we already got law in the books to deal with thief, man. Like everybody, like every other country's law doesn't have laws to deal with thief, man. But them still put in a law, a specific clause to jail the people if they misuse, misspent, or steal the people's oil money. You hear that? Ashley Singh said, man, we got law already on the books to deal with thief, man. That is the strongest oil law they put in, uncle. Just for tell you how much money coming in, but not how it going out. The same thing Jagdev and Ashley Singh did with the IFMAS program at the Ministry of Finance. I think I tell you this story already. They spent 100 and something million to install a system to monitor every cent that goes into the ministry. But the part how the money coming out wasn't installed. Only the part recording what coming in the ministry was put in place. And Jagdev got the nerve to say Winston Jordan wasn't truthful about the 18 million signing bonus. How it come? Yes. How it come in and how it go out, nobody know. 4 years now, that 18 million signing bonus, why end up in the treasury? Why end up in the treasury? Depan Jagdeo mind. Could you believe this thing, man? That he just talk about everywhere he goes. This country presently, Divina, is losing more than 18 million US dollar a day with his incompetence or corrupt behavior. Managing our oil, our gold, our diamond sectors and so on. But you're not hearing anything about that. I can list a number of things in which this country getting robbed every single minute of the day. But if I do that, it will take 3 programs to do this, uncle. And over my programs, I've been speaking about them. We're losing more than $18 million a day. And Jagdev not talking about that. He talking about 4 years ago, Winston Jordan collect 18 million and try to hide it from the country. and the country get it back. It's not that they thief it. They have to give it back. Put it in the treasury. You know, Divina, Uncle and Auntie, if Cherry was alive and Bonham, I don't know which prison them would end up in for doing what they did and what they're doing to this nation presently. I don't know. Now I want you to listen to the continuation of his speech at Babujan. I am not cutting anything for him to accuse me, because that's a new spin he find in his mouth. He can't take his own message. Yeah. So he just said, Glenn, a cut tape and giant tape. You would hear him say, we already amended the fiscal terms. Fiscal terms. The money terms he talking about there, uncle, in the new PSA, the new contract. And then, in the same breath, say, we coming up with a new PSA, a new contract. So for any new development now, the royalty rates will go up from 2% to 10%. And the companies will have to pay taxes. Yes. Taxes. Unlike the agreement signed by the PNC with the ExxonMobil contract. So, he said, we have made that change. But no contract out as yet. I want you guys to listen to him for yourselves at Babujan Sunday Gone. Play that piece of it.
Look at the corruption on the APNU. So contrast this behavior. Contrast this. We have made changes to local content legislation. The same legislation, something that Comrade Chetty was always concerned about, that we needed foreign capital to expand this country. But are Guyanese going to get a fair share of the proceeds? We've already amended the fiscal terms of the PSA. We're coming up with a new PSA, so any new development now, the royalty rate goes from 2% to 10%. And the companies have to start paying taxes here, unlike the agreement signed by APNU. So we have made that change. But more importantly, we've passed a local content law that was passed by the PPP that has brought nearly $700 million of business and business opportunities to Guyanese, because we believe that this industry must work for our people too, not the foreigners alone. We've traveled around the world. We've seen in these countries how the foreigners, people of one color, live in ethnic enclaves. We said not in Guyana. With the law now says that these foreign companies can only rent dwelling places from Guyanese, so that Guyanese now have an opportunity to supply them with this too. They can only rent transportation. And I know this is an opposition. We didn't come in government just like that. We went to the Marriott one day, I think it was Irfan and I, and there's a Hertz sign there. They were bringing already an American company to rent taxi services. So we changed the law, and now you can only rent from the Guyanese people, because it comes out of the sense of where we have come from. We need foreign capital to develop these industries. We can't put together $30 billion to build these FPSOs. We don't have that money, but we have to make sure that the people in this industry, that they leave a fair share of the proceeds to Guyanese. Because
yeah, boy. Ensure that they leave a fair share. They leave a fair share. Wow. You're not demanding, you're not asking, you're not working for your own share. They must leave our fair share. You hear it? That was his last line. Uncle? He said he passed the local content law in which Guyanese getting work, getting contracts to the tune of 700 and something million US a year. I don't know what contract or what work the Guyanese people getting, or where that 700 million US, yes, where they? Because the US dollars should have already gone down tremendously if that kind of money was coming into this country. Instead, the US dollars raising every day, the cost of living raising every day, and Jagdev telling you how much money coming in this country with local content. Almost every contract that he spoke about is given to foreigners in this country. Them making the US money and shipping it out to their countries, while the Guyanese sucking the salt with a few Guyanese contracts and work. And that is what he calling local content policy and the local content law that he proudly boasts about there just now. But let's go back to the royalty, what he said would be 10%, and the taxes he wants from the new oil companies. Yes, he wants 10% royalties and 10% taxes from the new oil companies who would be working in the new oil blocks to pay. That's what he wants. Let me be very clear and simple to every Guyanese. Those few oil blocks that he wants 10% this and 10% that out of ain't got nothing much for the Guyanese people, uncle. A matter of fact, they ain't even find a drop or an ounce of oil in any one of them so far. But that is what he wants 10% taxes and 10% royalty on. You know, there's a saying, an old saying where you're dreaming. I don't remember the saying, man. You're hoping and you're moping for something. Yeah. That's what he doing there. And palavering, you know, to the crowd at Berbice. Yes, this is what we will get now. Yeah. The one with ExxonMobil. The one that ExxonMobil holding. That's stretching from the Suriname border to the Venezuela border. We're holding almost 90% of the oil in this country. He doesn't want 10% royalty and 10% tax from that one. Why, Divina? Can you answer that question?
I have no idea.
Oh, nobody can answer that question, only he. He blaming the PNC every minute for signing that lopsided contract, knowing fully well, uncle, that the contract has room to renegotiate. But he's not saying a word on that. He didn't tell the people at Bobby's a word about that. How come he didn't tell them that? How come he didn't tell the people at Babujan that the power is in his hands, uncle? Yes, it's in his hand now to squeeze ExxonMobil with every other ongoing projects they want, so that we can get better fiscal terms or better fiscal benefits. They love to use that two words, fiscal benefits. It means more money for Guyana, uncle. How come he doesn't want more money for Guyana on the ongoing projects in the Exxon Stabroek block? Can anybody answer that question for me? He was boasting how the new contracts, the new PSA, them will have to pay 10% royalty and 10% taxes. He didn't tell the people at Babujan that when Glenn Lal challenged the tax give away in court. He and his government team up with ExxonMobil to fight against Glenlal. He didn't tell them that. And tell them they make a lose the case. He didn't tell them that. Now the judge saying, I have to find the money to pay ExxonMobil lawyers too. I don't know if I have to pay the government lawyers. I wasn't very clear on that. Wow. The Creator gonna help me. He gonna show me the way. He gonna send me the money in my bank book to pay ExxonMobil lawyers. One of them, Senior Counsel Eddie Laku, said, Glenn, I don't want anything, brother. The other one, SC, Senior Counsel Andrew Pollard, when I call him, he said he gotta work it out and will get back to me. Any money to he. The judge got to make the decision, and I am saying this publicly. Glenlal and his two friends took our own money to pay lawyers to fight that tax case. Not big money. Not too much of big money. The lawyers were very understanding of this injustice happening to this country and didn't really take nothing much. I think the money we pay could only do the paperwork for them. So that all Guyanese could have come out a winner with the money we should have received from the oil in taxes from ExxonMobil. But the judge said, sorry guys, the law allows Winston Jordan to waive the taxes. And we lose the case. The law doesn't allow Barra Jagdeo now to waive taxes on every other ongoing project. You hear me, Divina? The law does not allow Barra Jagdeo now to waive taxes on every other ongoing projects. But he cussing down Jordan about waiving the taxes to ExxonMobil. He not changing that. And he busy approving more and more projects, uncle. This is how Guyanese will get their fair share of the proceeds, according to Jagdeo at Babujan. Then Jagdeo said, the oil companies got to rent from locals so that locals can make a few pennies. But allowing ExxonMobil to build their own headquarters at Ogle. And Guyana is paying for it too, uncle. Yes. You don't want to hear the price too. 160 million US. You can build 3 headquarters with that money and rent it to Exxon and all the oil companies in every one of the oil blocks and make money for Guyanese people. This is how you just get your rightful share, uncle, by building it yourself and rent it to them. But they allow Exxon to build their own headquarters. So wherever Exxon is renting now, will move out and go and sit there. They might even collect a rent too, because the building is their own. Although we money buy it or build it. Then he talk about transportation. The oil people got to rent with local vehicles. Oh, buddy, oh. Oh, something is wrong with Jagdeo's mind and his head. 3 days ago, uncle, ExxonMobil put a whole page ad in all the local newspapers. They're looking to buy their own vehicles to carry them around the place, fetch their children to and from school, carry their wives or the maids to the markets and grocery stores. That is how that is how local Jack Dale making this thing local. Did you that? Yes, that is how local Jack Dale making this thing. Yes. Allowing them to buy high-end vehicles with VIL money too. Oh, Father. Oh. I'm sorry for them people at Babujan when, sitting there, standing there, clapping their hands. I wish they could listen to this program. I wish they can. I believe some of them listening. He said he been to the Marriott and see a Hertz sign. Uncle, Hertz is an international vehicle renting company that operating all over the world. Whenever I go to Miami, it depends on the prices as rent from them. If you want to rent a car or you jump in the car and go. Them done there in Guyana for come take over the little money. Take over we little local content work what we supposed to get. And Jack Dale say how he changed the law to make them rent from Guyanese. Yes. Changing law for rent cars and houses. But not changing the law for bringing the real millions of US dollars in our pockets. Oh boy, I don't know. Joshua, you got another a piece of that tape. Could you play it back for me, please? We played it already. Play it back. Yes, yes.
Look at the corruption on the APNU. So contrast this behavior. Contrast this. We have made changes to local content legislation. The same legislation, something that Comrade Chetty was always concerned about, that we needed foreign capital to expand this country. But are Guyanese going to get a fair share of the proceeds? We've already amended the fiscal terms of the PSA. We're coming up with a new PSA, so any new development now, the royalty rate goes from 2% to 10%. And the companies have to start paying taxes here, unlike the agreement signed by APNU. So we have made that change. But more importantly, we've passed a local content law that was passed by the PVP that has brought nearly 700 million US dollars of business and business opportunities to Guyanese, because we believe that this industry must work for our people too, not the foreigners alone. We've traveled around the world. We've seen in these countries how the foreigners, people of one color, live in ethnic enclaves. We said not in Guyana. With the law now says that these foreign companies can only rent dwelling places from Guyanese, so that Guyanese now have an opportunity to supply them with this too. They can only rent transportation. And you know this is an opposition. We didn't come in government just like that. We went to the Marriott one day, I think it was Irfan and I, and there's a Hertz sign there. They were bringing already an American company to rent taxi services. So we changed the law, and now you can only rent from the Guyanese people, because it comes out of the sense of where we have come from. We need foreign capital to develop these industries. We can't put together $30 billion to build these FPSOs. We don't have that money, but we have to make sure that the people in this industry, that they leave a fair share of the proceeds to Guyanese.
Joshua, I didn't want you to play back the whole tape. I wanted you to play back half, but I'm happy that you end up playing back the whole tape. Oh boy, Jack, they said we need foreign capital. We can't find 30 million US to build an FPSO, uncle. He should have told the people at Babujan how we got 3 billion debt. Years now that we can't pay. He should tell them 30 billion US dollar at 10% interest rate that he hiding from us is 3 billion US dollar a year on interest alone, uncle. You hear me? That is how Guyana will get we fair share, Mr. Jagdeo. But we have to make sure that the people in the industry leave a fair share of the proceeds for the Guyanese people. Yes, the proceeds. Wow. Taxi, drivers, cooks, maids, trucking service, security guards, gardeners, babysitters is leaving Guyana a fair share of the proceeds for the Guyanese people. That is what we give we fair share. The proceeds. Not the royalties, not the taxes, not capping the interest rates, not ring fencing those projects, not securing Guyana with full liability coverage in the event of an oil spill. The people at Babujan didn't hear that. Them hear about ethnic enclaves, which is can't happen in Guyana. Well, Jagdeo, well, Bharat Jagdeo, you need to go. You need to go and see where the oil people living. And you fully well know where they're living. Because they're living in your friend them gated communities already. Auntie and uncle, Jagdeo should also tell us what they're paying the locals that own those houses. How much coming out of the oil for those houses? Listen to me carefully, Divina. These are things that you need to understand. You understand what I said there? No, let me explain what I said there. What I'm saying there, they pay Glenlal or they pay Divina 5,000 US to rent a house or her house. And Glenlal and Divina is happy with that. Yes. But you don't know, Jagdeo doesn't know how much coming out from the oil money for renting Glenlal and Divina house. 30,000 US. Not 5. Me and you getting 5. Or Jagdeo and Joshua getting 5. But check the bill there. It's 30,000 coming out. That is what Jagdeo and ExxonMobil don't want us to see. The expenses, uncle. The costs. How it's being jacked up or inflated. Yes. Inflated here, there, and everywhere. He should have told that crowd at Babujan why he and President Ali not releasing the FDP reports. The field development plan reports, the audit reports, and the production reports. Yes, the expenses, uncle. Why they're hiding that from us? You know why, Divina? You know why, uncle? Because we will expose ExxonMobil and their skullduggery when we see the expenses. Man, when we see the expenses, I don't know. I really don't know. What would come out of your eyeball? You see how I live in? That's exactly where you'll be living forever if those expenses is not come in the open. A few friends, Mr. Terence Moore, Mr. Subnat, and Pastor Benjamin invited me to Borby Sunday. They say some of their friends and neighbors want to have a drink with me. So, guys, those of you in Borbis who want to join me in a drink, I'll be at Mr. Subnath's residence at number 57 Village, like about 12:30. Don't forget, you can't tell me doctor though. Don't forget that. Don't tell him I'm going to take a few drinks. He can be very upset and say the next time I go visit him, no wonder you got to come to me so often. So just keep that a secret. I come in there Sunday. Saturday, the day before President Ali went to Babujan, he went to the opening of a warehouse in which my family member, a businessman, importing and distributing Pampers, juices, beverages, and other products from other countries, and call that progress and development. Uncle and auntie, if I was given the opportunity to say something at that forum, I would have told President Ali and his ministers, the members of the Chamber, Commerce and the private sector who were present there, is either they don't understand what is development or they are all downright fools. Guys, development or progress of any person or a country has to do with production. Yes, production. What you produce in your country, not what you import and sell in your country, but what you produce. What you produce to feed yourselves and your country, and sell overseas to bring money into your country, into your homes. That is what you call development and progress of a country. You don't sell other countries' products and call that development, guys. That is development for those countries, because your money is going to their country to develop their country, Mr. President and others. Our little oil money, gold money, diamond money, when we buy their products, is building highways and skyways for other countries. When we produce rice and sugar and export to sell overseas, uncle, that is what you call development and progress. But even that, President Ali and Jagdev can't market and sell for your own country. Being in the rice and sugar business for centuries now. Auntie, uncle, managing your resources, your wealth properly, like the oil, the gold, the diamonds, the bauxite, etc. Getting the best deals out of them is what you call development of a country, which progress will follow. Mr. Ali and others. Not allowing the foreigners to fetch out all of them by the boatloads and plane loads and left you, the owners, to suck the dry seed. That is not development, guys. That is selling out your country's wealth and its people, sending them back into slavery and indentureships. Gosh, man, this thing is so unthinkable when these people open their mouth and speak. Gosh, man, Uncle, getting your rightful share from them foreign gold and oil companies, especially in a partnership, is what you call development, people. Yes. Let me repeat, guys. Development is getting your rightful share of your own wealth so that you can develop your country with a type of modernized medical facilities, with modern technologies, and with modern infrastructure. Not borrowing to build schools, health centers, post offices, police and fire stations. No, sir, no. That is not development. Borrowing to build these things is not development. Getting your rightful share of your own products is what brings about development. Giving away the white man your resources and collecting the dry seeds for your people is not development, Mr. Ali. That is downright skullduggery or clownishness. Selling the Chinese, the Americans and the other foreign countries' products in Guyana, uncle, is not development, President Ali. Selling your own produce, like I said, to bring in foreign currency, is what will give progress and development. I was looking at the reaction of the crowd and the guests sitting at the head table as President Ali was speaking at that function. Guys, I could have only said quietly in my mind, God help this country. We need you now more than ever with these short-sighted sellouts or clowns. These clowns can't even sell rice and sugar and a few other things that we produce in this country for centuries now, like gold. What else they could sell, man? Huh? I asked the chamber people if that was development, and they smile. They smile. Divina, the gold board, what has to do nothing but buy gold from the miners. You listen to me carefully. People carry the gold and give them at the gold board because they have to. You understand? As a miner, you have to carry some of the gold and give them at the gold board. If not, your license wouldn't be renewed. That agency can make a profit. Year go year come, buddy. And this is what they call development. Giving away every piece of our wealth for nothing. And that is development, uncle and auntie. What's wrong with your body? Father above, come quick. Come quick and save this country. We have a few local gold buyers in this country. All of them, they have a set in the interior to buy gold. Gold not come to them office. A little come to the office. But they must send people in the interior for buy gold. Yes. All of them making millions upon millions when the year come in profits. But we gold board, losing money every year. That is what we call progress, Davida. Every household should have been cocking up their foot on top their veranda or some fancy sofa, receiving no less than $1 million a month already from the isle alone. Look what is going on in this country. Look what Jagdeo telling the people at Babujan. He passed local content law. Forget taxi driver work, taxi service, and little trucking service, maids and security guards and stuff like that. That is local content law. You hear how proudly he said? We came in and put in the most important thing, local content law. Oh, Papa, where are you there? It's a good thing my doctor giving me good tablets, you know. Yeah. Laws, rules, to draw billions out of the Exxon block, out of the 5th project that he wants to approve.
Mr. Jagdeo certainly is a passionate leader, but I believe if he is to channel those passion and his energies into the right sector, man, we would be dancing and overjoying with all the profits
and
that we
he's
can.
Very smart. Divina.
He is.
Extremely smart.
Yes.
There is nothing that Glenlal talking on this radio he doesn't know. This man knows everything. But he doesn't mean to do the right thing for us. Why? This thing beats me, man. It beats me, man. 2.5 hours rally at Babujan. Said nothing about the wholesale thievery of our gold, our diamond, our bauxite, our timber, and so on. Nothing he said there. Just a few minutes. Them talk about our oil. Divina, uncle and auntie, the whole world can't take the eyes off Guyana. Can't hold back the pen and the mouth about Guyana sugar cake, we isle. Google it, uncle. Whole day, whole night, all over the world. Guyana sugar cake, they want, we isle. Every jackman across this earth is talking by the minute, 24 hours a day on our sweet crude. And the sweetness they can get here with these corrupt deals. Yes, the freeness they're getting here from these incompetent, corrupt leaders we have. Very few. And in between press conferences, you have with them in which 3/4 of it is spent on cussing down the PNC. And when the reporters ready to ask questions, they're busy. They have a hard day ahead. A packed day ahead. Holding rallies in Cherry Jagan Stronghold and have to bus people and truck people from West Coast, Demerara, Linden, East Bank. Oh boy, just to build up numbers and to listen to them. That should be a real lesson to them. As for our president, 2 years he sit in that chair and never held a press conference to talk about our oil. We don't know when he will hold one to sit down, to really sit down and talk to this nation about our resources. I don't know when. They have fool people all over with Cherry Jagan face. They just put up a big sign with Cherry face in front Raman's place at Houston there. You saw it? You see it? Mm-hmm. Every morning I pass a
Yeah.
Poor Cherry. He must be spinning in the wind because he didn't bury. To see what Barajagdeo leading in this country. And they're fetching people by the bus loads from the West Coast. I had to laugh when I hear that in the newsroom today. Oh, uncle and auntie, it is not important. A friend said to me, Glenn, it is not important to go to heaven after we leave, but it is important to create heaven in someone's heart before we leave. Chetty Jagan did that. He created heaven in many people's hearts before he leave or left. But like he left the devil in some of them. Then another friend said, Glenn, forgiveness is a strange medicine. If you give it to others, it heals the wounds in their hearts. I said it wrong. If you give it to others, forgiveness is a strange medicine. If you give it to others, it heals the wounds in your heart. So tonight, Divina, I want to forgive all the politicians for all the wrongs they did and they're doing. And let them turn a new page for the betterment of all mankind, especially the Guyanese people. What do you say about that?
Well said. And I'm hoping that it works.
Exactly. So let's wait and see if this medicine will work, as my friend said.
Yes.
Or that. Let me hear what they will be saying starting tomorrow. If they will be talking the talk or walking the walk. Right?
Yeah.
Is that okay? So, Divina, I know I talk too much.
You did?
Take over the floor.
Thank you.
Take
Thank
over
you.
the floor.
Thank you so much. And
Oh, you want to give me one more moment?
Sure, go ahead.
I remember the Marriott Hotel, uncle. The Marriott Hotel. I see 8 companies submit their interest in buying it. Now, money-making machine moving away from our hands into their friends' hands. More starvation for you and your children. Everything they're fitting themselves in just to rape this land. To keep you, where are you at? That hotel was built with an evil intention. It's unfolding now. Ashley Singh and Barajagdev install people quietly, silently through the Republic Bank Trinidad in the beginning. Now the gates are being opened to grab it out with hands. The crowds at Babu Jan didn't hear about that. He didn't tell the crowd at Babu Jan at Babu Jan that Glenn Lal and his team at Kaieteur News forced him to change the contracts going forward. He make it sound as if he made the changes all by himself. Divina, I want to tell Barajagdeo, Glenn Lal and his team at Kaieteur News, with every Guyanese voices and feet, will make him go down on his knees to change that Exxon contract. We can't live with that. This is not a free-for-all. This is what God Almighty blessed us with. And Jagdeo or no Jagdeo, Exxon Mobil or no Exxon Mobil, will give every man, every woman and child of this country their rightful share. This is not a threat. No. That is what you will have to give us. We are not Africa nor Asia. Davina,
Yes.
take over.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Lal, and for playing Mr. Jagdeo's presentation at Babu John there over the weekend. I just wanted to say, and I was listening to your remarks as well, and the definition you gave for development. I would like to say, using your definition of development, it would give us a very new perspective as to what development actually means. If we were to evaluate based on health, progress in our health sector, the mining industry, even our agriculture sector, we would see a total different picture as to this development that they're claiming. Jagdeo's presentation, I find it to be very blindsided. Let me just rephrase that. Blindsiding. He's trying to blindside the people there because
Exactly.
they don't know any better. And so that is why I think programs like these, informative, independent voices are so necessary. And with that, I would like to say to everyone listening, use your voice, use whatever means that you have to communicate your perspective. Let them know that we understand fully what you're doing. He even used his platform there to encourage his supporters of the party to fight against the naysayers on social media. And so I would like to encourage each of you independent persons with your own thoughts to do the same and to speak up against what is happening in our country. He spoke about the local content legislation and how much it has been of benefit to Guyanese. But over the weekend, like you mentioned, we carried a story in which Exxon is planning to buy their own SUVs. And so I started to think about what this would do to our local transportation sectors, those persons that have taken out loans from the banks to help traverse these people, and what it might do to their families even.
You're folding them.
Yes.
You're folding them.
Right.
You're bankrupting not only the bank, but the people who went to the bank to buy those vehicles to work alongside with the oil companies to make a few bucks. When you allow ExxonMobil, the oil people, them to bring in their own vehicles, they don't need to rent anymore. So I don't know what Jagdev talking about, this important local content law he passed to ensure that the oil people use local people transportation. No, you're bankrupting a man.
Right.
If a man went to the bank and buy two nice car to work with them, what becomes of the car?
Exactly.
The bank is folding the bank too. These things have a triple down effects. From top to bottom.
Right. And even outside of the transportation sector, he spoke about the rental of homes and so on. But we know that Exxon is in the planning phase right now to develop their own housing schemes and so on. And we reported on these things before.
You know, 1 second. You know, I wanted to talk about that too. You know, he boasting to the people at Babujan that how the oil people have to rent from locals. No, guys. The oil people they already got land to build their own housing scheme, gated communities. So they will be living in the what was his exact words? The enclaves?
Yes.
The
ethnic enclaves.
The ethnic enclaves. They will be living like kings and queens in gated communities. That's what they're building for themselves. And guess what? They will take your oil money to pay rent inside there too. To their own self.
You see, and it's all being done under the guise of local content because they're claiming, we're using Guyanese contractors.
Yeah.
And we're going to buy our SUVs from locals. So we're contributing to local content and we're building your country. But what happens after that? And so that is a question. that I even put to the ministry.
Yeah.
I reached out to them, the local content secretariat, to hear what are their views regarding this particular request for proposals that
Yes.
Exxon had put out. I had a brief interaction off the record with one of the ministry's employees, and it was distasteful to say the least, because the person that I spoke with, Guyanese, mind you, and they were trying almost to justify Exxon purchasing their own vehicles. Let me just share with you the explanation. This was off the record. This is not the official position of the ministry. They officially communicated to me today that they are not going to comment on the issue. But just to tell you what one of the employees there communicated to me, I was told that the vehicles that locals are using right now, they're not safe enough. So we need better advanced vehicles, 2022 2023 models that are safer for the people to travel. They said they even communicated this to some of the service providers, and they're reluctant at this time to make those upgrades. Mr. Lal, what do you think about that?
This is sickening. Jagdev should give us his fleet of vehicles to use then. No, but these people, they don't. Of course, they want something better, but they don't have to buy it. All they have to say, guys, these are not what we want to ride in. This is not what we want to live in. We want to live in this, and we want to ride in this, and we will get it. You understand? And that is local content. But they don't want us to get anything, so they're going to buy their own stuff.
I don't want to belabor the issue of local content too much, and so I'm going to move on quickly to another point that I made note of. He spoke about this new oil contract and how it's going to benefit Guyanese and so on. And I mean, you touched on the fact that it's not these new terms, these fiscal terms, will not extend to the Stabroek Block, where the true wealth is, and that we've already we've already discovered that. We're carrying a story tomorrow in which we're going to highlight that the new oil contracts, the shallow and deep water contract, allow for the oil companies to pay taxes. While this is so, there is also a provision that allows for the taxes to be recovered. So on one hand, we're going to have the companies paying taxes, but they are going to recover that money. So how then do Guyanese truly benefit? How are we improving on our fiscal terms in this way? Right? So that is one of the things we are highlighting. And it must be noted, guys, that this is just a draft model contract. It's still in consultation phase. I believe the consultation wrapped up today or yesterday. And so we're hoping, at least I am truly hoping, that they see this and they address it, so that we don't have a situation whereby these people are paying taxes but then are recovering it. So, because how do we benefit there? How is that improved? How is that improved?
Well, Davina, that was one that was the issue I had with we had with Bara Jagdev when we asked him if Exxon is recovering the royalties in which he was going around in circle like a yo-yo. He gotta ask the lawyer, he gotta ask GRA, he gotta get this, he gotta. A simple question is ExxonMobil giving you royalty with the left hand and taking it out back with the right hand? He gotta ask the lawyer and GRA. Well, the new oil contract he's talking about. Now, this is just a draft. This is not a contract.
Correct.
So they will have to correct that, because it's the same voodoo we will end up in.
Yeah.
Like ExxonMobil.
Correct.
Where they give us the 10% taxes or the 10% royalty with the right hand and thief it back with the left hand. So they will have to plug that loophole. I'm not too worried about that. If they don't, then you have to worry about it.
Right.
And then tell them. and then come back and sit on the radio and say, Guyana, this is what Barra Jagdeo did again.
And
Right.
just for the record, I just wanted to point out specifically where the contract provides for taxes and for it to be recovered. I hope officials from the government or the ministry is listening. At Article 38.2 of the draft contract, it states contractor, affiliated companies, subcontractors, and individuals who are expatriates shall be subject to the income tax laws of Guyana, including the Income Tax Act of Guyana, Chapter 8102, the Corporation Tax Act of Guyana, and shall separately comply with the requirements of those laws, in particular with respect to filing returns, assessment of tax, and keeping and showing of books and records. However, while Article 38.2 again makes provision for those companies to pay taxes, Annex C of the contract at Section 3, it states all rentals, taxes, levies, charges, fees, contributions, and any other assessments and charges levied by the government in connection with the petroleum operations and paid directly by the contractor are all recoverable contract costs. So, Mr. Lal, I'm really hoping that this is one of the items that they pick up and that they amend.
Well, that is similar to the taxes and the royalties, right? Where the subcontractors and all their affiliate companies pay whatever they have to pay, the taxes and so on, and they can recover it. It's a draft document. I think they will not allow that. I don't even think for a moment that can happen. If that happen, I don't know. We let's pack our bag up and leave this country. I want to call back this guy. Give me a moment, let me call him.
Go ahead.
You can open the phone lines, Guys, we can take the calls.